What's up, Des Moines? Doc Ladd here with the Fit Moines podcast. Today I have Mistee Martin with Mistee Martin Personal Training. How you doing, Mistee?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing so good. Thank you so much for
Great.
being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get started. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what you do now?
Yeah, I actually have always grown up in Iowa, super small town, about 50 people actually. Went to UNI for a couple years. I was going to be interior design, changed my mind after 2 years of being there, decided it wasn't for me, and ended up going into vet tech school. So I was a veterinary technician, which I absolutely loved for 15 years. And then I started to have a family, and basically it came down to needing to have more family time and needed to decide basically what I wanted to do with this second part of my career. So I left there, and for a couple years, I went and worked with a friend at an insurance company, which was not for me at all. And learned a lot about what I really wanted to do. And I thought, I need to figure out what my other passion is in life. It was animals. I still, absolutely love animals. It's like a nurse to a person, only now it's to a dog or a cat.
Yeah.
But you're helping, and that was the thing that I really missed when I was insurance, was I didn't feel like I was really helping like I did back in my former career. And I thought, what's the other thing that I love to do? And it's always been working out. I was an athlete in high school, and ever since I was in college, I'd work out all the time, did it through, I don't know, what's it been, 20 plus years, whatever. And just thought, maybe that's an avenue that I should really look into. And I actually had met up with a friend of mine who's a personal trainer as well. He's been doing it for, I think like 22 years.
Okay.
And we just sat down and talked about kind of the logistics of everything. And basically, at the age of 40, I decided to go ahead, get all of the education I needed behind that, and opened up my own business. Awesome. And here we are.
And how long has that been now?
So it's been a little over a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you enjoy working for yourself now?
Absolutely love it. Love it. My mom owned her own business when I grew up.
Okay.
And it was something that I'd actually been contemplating. Didn't know what avenue I wanted to take with owning my own business.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of seemed like it meshed well with doing what I loved, but also being able to have the opportunity to, do it out of my home, which is where it's at. I didn't want to have to pay rent fees, that kind of thing. I have the ability, having 3 kids in the house, I have the ability to be home when I need to be home, not having to necessarily get out and about in the nasty weather, which I still will do for certain clients. But so I decided to actually have my own gym here, and it's been going really well.
Yeah, it gives you that like flexibility and time freedom that
absolutely
business
that was honestly the number one thing about wanting to open my own business, was having that flexibility. I could make my own hours. I wouldn't say mom hours, but I could kind of conform things to what our life is, make sure I'm at my kids' sporting events, get them off to school, that kind of thing, but still be able to do what I love. And, still be working full time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Like, you can build your schedule kind of around sporting events or after school events or whatever is going on. It's
absolutely
nice to have that flexibility for sure. Can you tell us a little bit about the studio you've got at your house?
Yes, I'm so excited because I just invested in a very large machine. Has everything that I need basically in it. So I took everything that I loved working out at the gym and brought it to my home. So it's a nice space. The kids lost their play space, unfortunately. We turned an 18 by 18 room that used to be their nice playroom, and I stole it. But I've got my music going. I give everybody water, sweat towels, because everybody's sweating. And I've got ability to have either one-on-one is what I do mostly, but I've been also now incorporating 2 people. So kind of a semi-private type thing. Girlfriends is basically what it turns into.
Yeah.
But I've got enough room to have 2 people in there and enough space to be able to do everything I want to do, whether it's straight up strength training, which I do, 99% of the time, On the occasion, I'll do some HIIT workouts, that kind of thing.
Okay.
In fact, this past summer, we live on 2 acres on a lake. We've got beautiful property, and I decided to try to incorporate a lakefront kind of workout, which I'm going to continue to do, I think, next year as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask
Basically,
about
I
that.
could put 50 women, in front of the lake with a great view and get a good workout in. So I've got a lot of possibilities where I'm located.
Yeah.
And everything that I need is within my gym, which I love.
Yeah. And the studio overlooks the lake too, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Awesome.
Yep.
I'm
We've
jealous.
got a great big slider door. Unfortunately, the people who are here at like 5:30 in the morning right now don't get anything because it's just pitch dark. But yeah, when we've got some really beautiful sunrises going on, we take a moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Take a look.
Right?
Yeah.
I love seeing those pictures that you post of it.
Yes, I know. I do quite a few of those, but
I would too. I mean, we did it in Okinawa, like with the ocean being right there.
Yeah.
We've probably got hundreds of pictures on our phones and Google Photos.
Yes.
Sunrise.
I'm an ocean girl too, and so this is the best I've got being in Iowa.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, bring it to you, right? So tell us just a little bit about the clientele that you work with.
I train all women.
Okay.
I've got anything from in their early 20s up to the oldest that I've trained she just turned, actually, let's see here, 81, I believe.
Okay.
Everybody with different goals, honestly. I have a lot of postnatal mamas, which I absolutely love training because that is one thing I'm able to do is I can relate to all of these women. Having children of my own, I know the struggles, and it's where I feel like I really thrive.
Yeah.
And it's where I get the most reward from, I honestly think, because you have these moms coming to me that have struggled for sometimes years of trying to get themselves into shape. And then you see this great big transformation and the confidence comes back. So yeah, I would say on average, 30s and 40s, early 50s would be usually what I've been working with as of late anyway.
Okay.
Tends to be the age frame. Yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of like training style, I guess, or how would you describe your training style with your clients?
Straight up strength training.
Okay.
Building muscle. It's so important with women in particular, which is what I've always done. And it's what I love, because that's the thing that a lot of people, especially as they get older, they don't know what to do. And then anything that they do, they don't enjoy. And you've got to be able to do something in exercise that you enjoy. And I've always enjoyed strength training. Yeah. So with my women, I do a ton of strength moves, functional movements such as deadlifts and squats and lunges and all of that good stuff that incorporates a lot of different muscles. You're burning lots of calories, you're building muscle so that you're burning more calories at rest. It's so good to maintain your muscle. Sure. As you get older, especially for women, as we enter into menopause, losing the bone density tends to decrease, obviously. Yeah. And when you're doing strength training, there's research behind it that shows that obviously you're maintaining that, you're even building more bone density as you're getting older if you're incorporating strength training. So I do a ton of that. It turns into cardio as well, obviously, because you're keeping your heart rate up that entire hour. We do a solid hour of strength training, core work, all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so each session with your clients is an hour long?
Yep. Nice. Yep, I've got one person just because of how it works within her schedule, that's a half an hour. And when I was doing those lakefront workouts, that was a straight hit for a half hour. Yeah. But outside of that, I mean, we hit it hard for an hour. And a lot of times I go over on time because and I've got my girls moving. You know what I mean? We're moving right through that hour. And you need that hour. You really do. I haven't found, even trying to bump that back to 45 minutes, that I can get through everything that I need to get through in 45. So it's an hour.
Yeah, I found the same thing. And that's all my clients I see for an hour as well. And I think, some practices you'll see will do 20, 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes at the max. And you just can't It's really
So
hard to get everything in. You really have to be moving the entire, from the time they show up till they leave. And it's,
exactly. And we jibber jabber a lot, but we talk through
yeah,
the whole process. So it's a good time.
yeah,
Get to know all of my ladies very well.
sure. And now, do you mentioned a little bit, like, do you go to people's houses as well, or is this just at your studio?
I used to do a lot more of that before I had my gym. That's all I would do was go to people's homes. And there's benefits for that as well, especially if I've got somebody that maybe they have young kids and they have nobody to watch their children. And it's nap time. It's a perfect time for me to come, especially if they've got the equipment that I need. I've done that. As of right now, I only have a couple. I'm trying to honestly build off of my gym just because, like I said, I have everything that I really want to use within my gym.
Yeah.
And it turned into, and it's okay, when I would get clients that I would train and didn't have hardly anything, a lot of them were more than happy to get kind of the bare essentials that I needed to be able to do stuff with.
Mm-hmm.
It's more fun to be able to use all of the equipment that I have versus maybe just a handful of things that they have.
Sure.
You can make their programs a little bit more complex than what I can if I go to somebody's home. But yes, if somebody still is wanting that, and it works within my schedule, I absolutely will still do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It gets hard. There's only so much you can carry in your vehicle or carry inside.
Exactly. There's that. And because I've got so many people kind of booked back to back, I've got to have travel time as well to incorporate into that.
Right. Absolutely. What would you say makes, or I guess, what are the qualities that make a successful client for you?
Oh, easy. Because it works for myself as well.
Yeah.
Having patience, because I preach this to every single one of the ladies that I work with, and that is, it took you how long to get to this point? You can't expect instant results. This isn't bikini season, is what I talk about a lot as well. All the clients that I have are not ones that just want to be trained for bikini season and then let it go in the winter and then back to bikini. You know what I mean? Just the yo-yo effect.
Yeah.
I teach them that this is a life change and that we're doing this to be healthy for life. And these are changes that are sustainable, that kind of thing. So it's the patience with yourself. In fact, the first 2 weeks, I always say, don't get hard on yourself these first 2 weeks, because it's going to be super hard and you're going to think, I can't do this, but give your body some time. So patience, consistency with everything when it comes to our workouts, to nutrition, because I work a lot with nutrition as well with all of my clients. It's consistency. Consistency is going to pay off. And honestly, hard work. If you're going to, whether it's here or whether it's at home or whether it's with your nutrition and you're not taking it seriously, you're not going to get the results that you want. You got to be able to put yourself really into it and know what your goal is, your end goal, and kind of focus on that. So I would say, honestly, those 3 things.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we're speaking each other's language here, because I feel like I'm always preaching those same exact things. I just had a conversation with a guy yesterday. He was having back pain, but it's like, hey, realistically, you've had this pain for 10 years or more.
Right.
You're not going to get rid of it in 2 weeks.
Right.
Even if we get you feeling real good in 2 weeks, what's the long term? We got to look at the big picture here.
Yeah. The quick fix is so nice, but it's not realistic.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I think, are looking for that quick fix. But just like you said, the consistency aspect of it is super important.
Yep.
You can't expect to work out once and lose weight or get rid of that back pain, whatever the goal may be.
Exactly.
You got to be consistent with it over that long haul. And I think that's what makes my job hard too. And the same with you. Like, it's work. It's a lot of work. It's hard. It definitely is. And you've got to be dedicated. You've got to put in the time and the effort to get those goals. So
yeah.
With that said, how do you help your clients reach their goals?
Well, we basically start off with, I always say you can't have one without the other. You can't have exercise without nutrition. You can't have nutrition without exercise. They go hand in hand. So I always start off with, I use an app that tracks their food.
Okay.
We look at kind of how they eat in general. We make the adjustments needed. They send me their food logs every single night. I make adjustments to those. And alongside of that, then we are strength training. So we are changing not only the way that we eat and losing weight through that, but we're also then building muscle. And like I said, building more muscle burns more calories at rest. And I'm finding, I mean, with myself, with all of the women that I work with, it's the perfect combo. You know, like I said, you just can't have one without the other.
Sure. Are you having your clients, I know you said you're using an app to track things. Do you have them like count macros or
Yep.
what? Yeah.
Yep. I'm a big macro girl. So just because you can transform your body basically however you want it through macros.
Yeah.
I don't work with anybody that's, competitors or anything like that. I haven't worked with anybody that is super, super skinny that's trying to put on the weight. It's the classic, I'm trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
So that looks a certain way, but a lot of times, the majority of the women that I speak with, they think that they eat very healthy.
Yeah.
They think maybe they eat this many calories, but then when they actually go back and they track it, I get the, whoa, I did not know this is how much I ate, or I didn't know this was what was in this food. And it's like, yes. And my whole thing is never the approach of deprivation.
Yeah.
That's not, life is too short to deprive yourself of everything, So I just say everything in moderation.
Yeah.
You can't be eating whatever you want every day, obviously, but we work with those things. If you've got that one thing, for instance, I have plenty of women, especially during this time, love wine, and I can appreciate that. And I say, am I saying you can't have wine? Absolutely not. If you want that wine with your dinner, have it with your dinner, but you need to be able to incorporate that into your calories, into your macros, and you can make things work around that. So you aren't going into this feeling super deprived, starving all the time because I call it too, you're eating from the earth. I heard somebody tell me one time, if it doesn't rot, don't eat it. And I loved that little analogy because it's like, yes, so much of the processed stuff out there obviously doesn't rot.
Yeah.
So if you are eating something that does rot, it's obviously very good for you.
Right.
So I try to base things around just straight up eating healthy, but still enjoying the things that you love in moderation.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it's worked. And I haven't honestly had one person say, I feel so deprived.
Sure.
Or I'm starving all the time, or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like a couple of things you said there. Eating from the earth. I haven't heard that phrase before, but it makes so much sense, and it's true.
Yeah.
But also just tracking, journaling, writing down what you're eating. I think that's so important too.
Absolutely.
Like you said, like you may think you're doing one thing, but once you actually put it down on paper and you're looking at it closely and you see you're doing a completely different thing, it's kind of eye-opening.
Yep. And it's also an accountability thing. I'll have women that will be like, oh, I don't really want to track today because I know I didn't do well and I've got to show it to Misty. And I'm like, no, you got to do it.
Yeah.
It's an accountability thing. And if it makes you feel guilty that you just totally botched the day, it's okay. We all have bad days, so do I. I still track. If I'm trying to change up things with myself, I still track. So it's just for multi-purpose reasons. Most people actually that I work with actually really like it. And there's the occasional person that really hates it. And then we work with that as well. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. That's good stuff. So what would you say are like, what's your biggest motivator, or who influences you?
Honestly, there's always been one person that has always stood out in my mind, whether it's influencer or hero, if you want to call it such or whatever. And that sounds maybe silly to some people, but it would be my mother. And she's just a very strong, hardworking woman, always has been a good example for me growing up. And when kind of those days, whether it was building a business or just, life in general, of when things get really rough, she's the one person that I look back at and think, she did this, I can definitely do this,
Sure.
So she would be honestly my number one.
Awesome. All right. I didn't send these to you, so I hope it's okay, but I have some Spitfire questions. They're super easy, I promise. So this or that fall edition.
The what?
This is the this or that fall edition. So
Okay.
some fun Spitfire questions here. So
Okay.
apple cider or pumpkin latte?
Ooh, pumpkin latte.
I agree. Flannel or sweater?
Flannel or sweater?
Yep.
Oh, sweater.
Okay. Apple picking or pumpkin picking?
Apple picking.
Okay. Soup or chili?
Ooh, depends on the soup.
Yeah.
Soup.
Okay. Pumpkin pie or apple pie?
Apple pie.
Rainy day or a cold sunny day?
Ooh, cold, sunny. Neither. I'm a summer girl, but I have to have the sun. Need that vitamin D.
Right. I know the weather's so gloomy right now.
It's horrible. Can't wait for what, Saturday? 76 again and
Is
sunny.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't looked that far ahead, but that's good to hear.
I'm a weather beacon. Ask my friends.
Now, do you have any like clients that you'd like to highlight?
Oh,
I know I'm hitting you with another one I didn't ask you about.
like somebody in particular, I mean, that's done so well.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what you mean? Absolutely. I would, gosh, every single one of them brings it every time that they work out. I would say there's honestly two of them, but I'll just say one just for time purpose. But
Yeah.
anyway, she was 12 weeks postpartum and just found me on Des Moines Moms and just looked me up and was super embarrassed because she really wasn't one to work out outside of like high school.
Okay.
And she is my strength girl. I told her we do cleans. If somebody doesn't know what that is, they'll have to Google because it's too hard to explain. But she is my clean girl. She has come so drastically far, not only with her weight, inches, but her main goal, she's a critical care nurse. And the main thing that she wanted coming out of this when she came to me was because she's on her feet so much and she knew this is going to be her career for quite some time. Yeah. She needed to have strength and she needed to have mostly back strength for lifting of a lot of patients. And she's got that. She ended up having to tackle somebody last week, I think she told me. And I'm like, I would have loved to see that. Because she's a powerhouse now. And she's so fun to train because that is what her goal is. She's like, I really don't care about losing more weight, about losing more inches. I just want to keep gaining strength. And that is what I love because that is what I love. Sure. So she's honestly probably my highlight client.
Okay, that's awesome. Can we talk about, we didn't talk too much about it. You hit on a little bit with that client though, just about like the mindset that goes into training and reaching those goals. You know, a lot of people come in, like you said, if they're embarrassed or they haven't trained in a while or, you know, they don't feel like they're where they should be or things like that. How do you like help them overcome that and get into like the right mindset and get them more focused into like the positive and heading in the right direction?
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a huge motivational speaker. I like motivational quotes, you know, which I'll post, you know, stuff like that. But honestly, I think what the majority of the women I talk to that work with me say, I'm very relatable. And so by me just saying that, for instance, somebody comes in and they're having a really bad day, they're exhausted because their baby was up, whatever. Yeah. I'm not going to be sitting there screaming at you to do the work. You know, I've been there plenty of times. I know what you're here and that's what matters. Yeah. So we work through everyday things. You know, somebody comes in and the first session is always the most nerve-wracking for these women. Yeah. And I try to honestly make them feel at ease. And just like I had said to you before, just let them know the things that are to be expected. Like you're going to be sore, you're going to be tired, you're going to feel like, why did I even do this? Yeah. But muscle memory and knowing your goals and why you started this and not quitting because you want to reach that goal. we work just through those things on a daily basis. So little bits and pieces here and there. But honestly, I try to just make it fun. And so when they're here, they're not necessarily thinking about whether it's nerves or I'm doing a horrible job or, you know, whatever. I'm not pushing like what I did the other day. We just focus on the task at hand and do the best that they possibly can and enjoy it while they're doing it. And it seems to just kind of pick them up. They feel better after their workout. Yeah, I would say there's really no recipe for it. It's just me being me and them being them and being a friend to them.
Yeah.
And just kind of working through the process.
Just being a human, right? Like having that.
Exactly. A mom to a mom,
yeah,
you know, is what it is.
Sure. Yeah. I love it. Now, Mistee, this has been absolutely awesome, but if people want to learn more about you and everything that you do, how can they do so?
My webpage is honestly probably where you would find the most information and super easy. It's misteemartin.com. Didn't make it too crazy. And then I have a contact area there too that you can find my information from Facebook, Instagram, email, direct email,
okay,
that kind of thing.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all that in the show notes.
What's that? I'm sorry?
I said we'll put all of that in the show notes for you. So.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. You have a fabulous, cold, rainy day.
Thank you.
All right.